Ever get that, that feeling when you look up at a skyscraper being built, all that metal and glass way up high? Imagine being the one who makes sure it all gets put together right. That's a Crane Crew Supervisor, and that's what we're diving into today. We've got some really interesting stuff you sent us, including insights from RoleCatcher, the career platform.
It's amazing, isn't it? We often forget about these behind-the-scenes roles. They're crucial, though.
Totally. It's easy to think it just happens. But someone's got to be the boss up there, keeping everyone safe and making sure the project gets done.
That's the Crane Crew Supervisor. And they don't just operate the crane. They've got the whole team, blueprints. They need to understand the weight, the wind, everything.
Like a huge game of Jenga, but with, actual risk. And the research you sent, it really gets into how tough this job is. One part even says, and I quote, exposure to heavy machinery and heights and having to make quick decisions to resolve problems.
Right, and all while following safety rules.
Uh-huh.
You can't mess around in this job. One mistake could be really bad.
Reminds me of this story from the materials. An experienced supervisor, he was talking about a normal lift, but suddenly there was this gust of wind. It almost threw the load off balance.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, but he knew his stuff, not just about the crane, but the way the wind moved around the building, so he was ready for it. That's the kind of thing you only learn over time.
And it shows why soft skills matter just as much as knowing the technical stuff. This supervisor, he stayed calm, communicated clearly with his team, and that literally prevented a disaster.
Makes you wonder, right? Can you teach someone to be that calm under pressure, or are they just born with it?
That's a really good question. Some people are just naturally calm, but I think a lot of it comes from learning from people who've been there, mentors.
Right, experience over everything.
Exactly. And that's actually something RoleCatcher talks about when they lay out the career path.
Yeah.
You don't just hop into a giant crane on your first day.
Yeah, no kidding. You got to work your way up.
Exactly. It's a process, almost like an apprenticeship. It makes sense, though, given what's at stake.
So you're saying there's hope for those of us who, might not be cut out for heights and heavy machinery, that it's more about learning the ropes, so to speak.
Exactly. RoleCatcher breaks down this career path really well, and it all begins with the Crane Crew trainee role.
Ah, the rookie. The one with the fresh hard hat.
That's the one. But don't underestimate this starting point. As a trainee, you're there to absorb everything like a sponge. You're helping out, getting a feel for how things work on the site, and most importantly, really getting those safety procedures down pat.
You said feel for how things work, and that reminds me of this article you shared about how experienced operators, they kind of develop a sixth sense for the crane. They can sense the weight shifting, the load swaying, even anticipate the wind. It's amazing.
Exactly, and that's not something you can learn from a book, right? It's about being present, watching, learning from those veterans.
So as a trainee, you're basically learning the language of cranes before you can even think about operating one.
Precisely. And speaking of operating, the next step, according to RoleCatcher, is the Crane Crew Assistant.
Moving up in the world. Does that mean more responsibility, maybe even higher heights?
More responsibility for sure. As a Crane Crew Assistant, you're working directly with the supervisor, making absolutely sure everyone's following safety protocols. You even get involved with routine checks and maintenance on the cranes.
So it's beyond just learning to operate. Now it's about knowing the crane inside and out, how to keep it running smoothly, and of course, safely.
And look at this. The material emphasizes coordinating crane movements and positioning. At this stage, they're not just observing anymore, they're really part of making it all happen.
Which makes sense. You wouldn't throw a med student into surgery without them observing and assisting first. They have to learn the steps, know what the surgeon needs, understand the flow.
Exactly. Just like in surgery, attention to detail is crucial here. One wrong move, either profession, and, well, it could be disastrous.
No pressure, right? But seriously, the stakes are high, but I imagine the rewards are too. What comes after you've mastered being a crane crew assistant?
Well, before you can call the shots from the top, you have to master the crane itself. This is where it gets exciting. You become a crane crew operator.
Ah, so no more backseat driving. It's time to take the wheel. Or I guess, the levers?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's more than just levers and buttons, The research talks about reading the wind, anticipating the swing, understanding how the crane will react in different situations. It's about finesse and experience.
That's like the difference between knowing where the keys are on a piano and actually playing music, right?
Such a good analogy.
Yeah.
That's what sets apart the true crane crew operator. They're not just running a machine, they're conducting an orchestra of movement up there, making sure everything is precise, safe and perfectly in sync.
All those years of training, watching, and doing, it all comes together.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the role of Crane Crew Supervisor. They've been through it all, honed their skills, and now they're leading others on the same journey.
A true full circle moment, but it's not just about sharing what they know, right? What does it take to be a great supervisor in this role?
The source material points out some key things. Of course, there's overseeing all the crane operations, making sure safety rules are followed to the letter. But it goes beyond that. A good supervisor is also a problem solver, someone who can think on their feet, make decisions quickly when something unexpected happens.
Which, let's be honest, in this line of work probably happens a lot.
You're telling me. And we can't forget about managing the human element, the team. Being a Crane Crew Supervisor also means being a mentor, a leader who creates a culture of safety and teamwork.
So all those soft skills everyone's always talking about, they're essential here too. You have to be more than just technically skilled. You need to communicate effectively, build trust, get your team to perform at their best.
Absolutely. And the interesting thing is, those qualities are just as important in the world of AI and automation as they are in this more traditional field.
Now that's a great transition. Speaking of AI, we keep mentioning RoleCatcher and their guidance. How do they use tech to help people who want to be Crane Crew Supervisors?
That's where they really shine. They've got this AI-powered platform designed to give you a real advantage in your career.
Okay, I'm intrigued. How does this AI magic work?
Well, picture this. You have access to a database of, get this, over 120,000 practice interview questions. And they're all specific to different jobs and industries. That's just one thing RoleCatcher offers.
Wow, 120,000 interview questions. I'd need a crane to carry all that. But seriously, what a resource, especially for someone who might get nervous during interviews.
It's like having a personal coach in your pocket. And there's more. They have this AI resume builder too. It looks at your skills, your experience, and helps you create an application that stands out.
So like a dating app, but for your career. Brilliant. No more sending your resume into the void and hoping for the best. RoleCatcher plays matchmaker.
Exactly. And the best part, a lot of these resources are free. You can just sign up and start exploring. They genuinely want to help people, no matter their experience level.
That's great to hear. But here's a question. With all this AI and automation, do you think there's a chance technology could replace human Crane Crew Supervisors entirely someday?
That's the big question, isn't it? It's definitely something worth discussing further.
So we're talking about AI changing things up for Crane Crew Supervisors. I mean, we've got cranes with AI now, calculating weights, wind, even moving on their own. There's drones doing inspections. It's wild.
It's moving fast, that's for sure.
Right. And it makes you wonder, if the machines can do it all, maybe even better, what happens to the people?
It's the big question. But here's the thing about AI. It's great at what it's programmed to do, but the real world, especially on a construction site, it's unpredictable. AI can't plan for every situation.
So those what-if moments, that sudden win we talked about, that's where humans still win out.
Exactly. No program can replace the gut feeling of an experienced supervisor. They've seen it all. They know what to look for.
And you've got the human element of the crew, too. You can't program motivation or trust or knowing how to calm someone down when things get tense.
Exactly. AI can crunch numbers, write reports, but it can't lead a team or make those split-second decisions when it really counts.
So it's not about AI taking over. It's about AI helping humans do their jobs even better.
Exactly. Working together. Imagine a supervisor with real-time data from the AI. Different scenarios modeled out. They've still got their experience, but now they've got this high-tech support.
Like a co-pilot, but the human's still the pilot. They're in control.
Great way to put it. And that's true for a lot of jobs, not just this one. It's about working with technology, not being afraid of it.
Adapting, evolving. And speaking of which, RoleCatcher, with their AI tools, they're definitely on top of that.
Absolutely. They're giving people the tools to not just survive, but really thrive in this field.
So anyone listening who's thinking about this career, don't worry about the robots. Your skills, your judgment, that's what matters.
And platforms like RoleCatcher, they're there to help you improve those skills, get ahead. Don't be afraid to learn to use the resources out there.
Couldn't agree more. This has been a fascinating look at the world of Crane Crew Supervisors. Thanks for joining us on the Deep Dive, everyone.